Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another edition of the Weekly Review. My name is Mike Larkin, and joining me, as always, is the dead man of RWT, my boy, Paul Morales. How are you, Paul?
Boom! Here I am.
Ooh.
Oh, what's up, man? How you doing, man? I'm doing okay. I am doing just fine. I am here. You are here. We are talking the review from last week. See how many headlines, and there were a lot of them, a plethora of them that we could talk about. So let's shoot on it.
So I'm going to start it here first just because I want to get the AEW crap out of the way because we got to get the bullshittery out of the way. All right, we are going to start here just because it made me laugh. And it focuses on our boy, the one, the only, Mr. Adam Copeland. So Adam Copeland says AEW is shifting to more storytelling focus. And he said, and I quote, "It feels like we're getting more storyline emphasis because dream matches can only happen so often, and how sustainable is it? Story is always sustainable. Good story can last and last and last, and then you can always revisit it. And I look at the Hangman Swerve story, and I just love watching the slow progression." Yeah. Oh, okay. All of a sudden, we're talking stories. I read that, and I just rolled my eye. Go ahead. You go first.
Did you think of me when you thought of this? Yes. Tell me at least you thought of me when you thought about it.
I absolutely did.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I have said this from day one. It's cool. Dream matches are awesome. You know, when you get those once-in-a-lifetime matches and they bang, cool, fine, dandy. But if you're just slapping them together for the sake of just slapping them together, then nothing. There's a lot of people are not going to be drawn in. You know as well as I do.
Yep.
The best way to draw people in is to have a story with it. If you don't have a story with it, then you're just there.
You got nothing.
It's like Jericho fighting the guys from CMLL or AAA, and he's fighting their, he fought a lot of their uncles, their father's brothers, sister, cousins on their grandpa's side or whatever. But he did all this, and he could have. And it's good that he did that. Yeah, you get a little bit of story, but okay, next week he's going to face this guy. Okay. And I've mentioned this to Denise, the exact same thing. Denise Salcedo, the beautiful, beautiful Denise Salcedo. I've mentioned it to her several times. It's cool that Jericho wants to wrestle these guys. Perfectly fine by me. But there needs to be some substance to it happening. I don't want to know a week ago that he's going to fight this guy this week because of whatever little history or a couple of wrestling matches that he had with the uncle, or like I said, father, brother, sister, cousin, mother, former roommate. It doesn't matter to me that he wrestles them. Cool, fine, dandy. Go to CMLL or go to AAA and go wrestle them there. At least that would draw people in there. Here is a different story. This is where you have to be able to tell a story. It's cool, not a week, not a couple of days up on Collision or Rampage, but I want storytelling, and that's all I've wanted from AEW. That would pretty much set them off into a different trajectory. People would be drawn in, and people would want to be able to watch them.
I equate it to how Tony has to add like 4 matches on the pre-show, because remember from all that we had like 2 matches on the 0 hour, and then he added 2 more. It's like the Acclaim were just fighting for the tag titles, and they're going to wrestle the Iron Savages on the 0 hour. And now we have, I'll give you another example of just plain dream matches and matches for the sake of matches. Ricochet. Look at his entire run thus far in AEW. Last week he faced Sammy Guevara, and then he got attacked out of nowhere by the Beast Mortos. And now Tony just announced, because it's going to be a banger, we're going to get Ricochet versus Mortos this week on AEW. And I'm like, okay, woo. And like Ricochet, besides the fact I know that they're going to build to him and Will Ospreay, that is the match. But what we're doing now just sucks. Like, it sucks. And I mean, I equate it to like this. Like, people could say, but you got Andrade and Carmelo Hayes out of nowhere. Here's the difference. It's a game of tit for tat. They did a best of 5 series, and the end goal was, I want to be the United States champion. Andrade beats Carmelo Hayes, and now he has a title shot this Friday on SmackDown against LA Knight, for the United States Championship. And there's going to be some chicanery there, and then it could lead to a triple threat, or we're just going to go right into LA Knight and Carmelo Hayes, who have had beef before. And so we get it now for the United States Championship. There's a story end game to this. What is the end game for any of this. I equate it to the fact that, long-term storyline, Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy. And this is where I get pissed, just because of the fact that I'm tired of Chris Jericho. They did the angle where it's like, sometimes when you're friends, maybe they're just using you to become your friends. You're not really your friends. And then Big Bill does the look. I'm going to say part one of this, Paul. I don't care, and I do not want to see Big Bill versus Chris Jericho one-on-one. I have no desire to see Big Bill get a big victory, pun intended, against Chris Jericho. So they do the angle where they legit copied Nassau Coliseum 1998. Stone Cold Steve Austin puts the cement in the Corvette of Vince McMahon. And they had Orange Cassidy with Kyle O'Reilly and Mark Briscoe and the tractor, the forklift, whatever the hell that was. And he dumps pennies into Chris Jericho's Bentley and $1 into whatever, and they paid it in change, right? The $7,000 after a 4-year storyline. The storyline ended 4 years ago when Chris Jericho went into the Mimosa. That's where it ended. We don't need to bring this up 4 years later, but we're going to do it anyway, and that's why we have this match on Dynamite this week. So you do that. And the difference in the context of this, folks, is Stone Cold and Vince McMahon was just getting started in 1998. This is October of 98. He beats Shawn Michaels. He feuds with Dude Love. He feuds with The Undertaker and Kane. Vince is in the hospital because Undertaker and Kane. He has a smashed knee. He's in the wheelchair. Then it goes to the Survivor Series when they screw Stone Cold out of it because of Mankind, but they're not even supporting Mankind. Then we get the People's Champion, The Rock. This was only mere months into it. They just started cooking with Stone Cold and Vince. This is something that we're placating from 4 years ago that was already fucking done. And we'll get into Brian and Nigel in a minute because I'll play the Bully Ray clip. But do you understand, I don't care to see Chris Jericho and Big Bill in that story, and now Chris Jericho and Orange Cassidy 4 years later?
Yeah, but it again, back to something has to make sense. If you're gonna run back to an old rivalry, you have to make it make sense. In other words, something has to bring it together in order for it to make sense.
Right. And it's the same thing.
Again, back to the same thing we said about Adam. Adam's trying to say that they're trying to shift to more storytelling. Great, fine, dandy, but it all needs to make sense. Point blank. If it doesn't make sense to people, people are not going to be invested in the stories.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll get into Brian and Nigel now that we had our little rant there. And I will say this. I am excited before I play the clip. You and I both know Northeast Ring of Honor 2007, that feud where they're busting each other's heads with the headbutt. Don't do that. But also at the same time, it doesn't make sense. And I'll play the Bully Ray clip now because he talked about Nigel. And let's go to what Bully Ray had to say on Busted Open because he also makes a very good and valid point about this.
And Danielson, masters of their craft in a certain way, shape, and form. Excellent, excellent match, and the match hasn't happened yet. I would go on record to say that I believe I would call it excellent before it even happened. The diehards want this match. Hell, I want this match. I'd love to see it. I mean, it's a wrestling match, and I'm normally not into wrestling matches, but I'm into this one. If Danielson shows up for this match and never goes back after Moxley, when Moxley tried to kill him, are we just going to forget about that? Tonight, we got the challenge from Nigel. We never were really reminded of the plastic bag unless they showed it really quick in the Moxley package. So they've moved right on to Nigel. If Danielson if AEW never goes back to that moment in time, if Danielson never looks for a receipt, if Danielson never tries to go after Moxley for what he did, then that plastic bag was a spot for the sake of a spot and done for no good reason. Nigel.
Amen to that. He nailed it.
Boom. Man, see, this is the reason why I love Bully Ray. Shout out to fucking Bully Ray and fucking Busted Open Radio. This is where I say this man knows what the hell is going on. I know not everything that everybody says is going to be spot on. I get it. I understand it. I completely get it. But this was perfectly said, well articulated, word for word. If you do not go back to it, if you do not mention it, if he does not go back and receipt for what he did, It made no sense to do it. It was just there. And really, in all honesty, it made no sense for it to happen at that moment. Not a week, not 2 weeks earlier, he was being praised by everybody in the BBC or BCC or combat Blackpool Combat Club. Yeah, BCC. Yeah. Anyways, he was being praised by them. Why is it 2 weeks later, all of a sudden, you're just taking that away? Wouldn't you want to draw out a story to make it make sense for him to do that?
Yes.
You could still have this match with Nigel. You could still have this match and it be amazing. A little ways down the line, all of a sudden, you can get this complete turn from them onto Bryan Danielson. In my mind, in Bully Ray's mind, it makes sense to do that. But why would you not want to do that? I get it, it's Tony Khan, but it would make more sense in the eyes of a wrestling fan, even average wrestling fans, to continue a story to make it make sense.
I look at it.
This doesn't go along with what Adam's saying.
No, I mean, I look at it from a stance like this. Like, again, the last time these guys wrestled was 2007. And it throws off and it makes no sense to what Moxley stated, because they did the in-ring with Darby and he's like, I want your title shot. Bryan Danielson, our champion's indisposed. I took him out. I want to match with you to determine who the number one contender is. And he accepts. And then 20 minutes later, Nigel McGuinness comes out and he's like, oh, by the way, I just talked to Tony Khan and it's going to be Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness at Grand Slam. What?
That should be the other clip that I had sent you. See, but it doesn't make sense as to why that didn't happen, why that piece didn't happen, as far as like why it didn't transpire in that way. Why didn't they do a storyline to where, hey, if he wants that, or him and Darby kind of go at this thing back and forth, and all of a sudden he says, I want your number one title shot. Okay, that would make sense. But to do it on the same night that Nigel comes out completely makes no sense.
It doesn't. And I mean, I think also you have to look at it from a stance too as well. We look at over the years of the attendance and what AEW's done. I think this Grand Slam was not selling too well as it has in previous years. So Tony's like, what are we going to do to get people into it? We're going to appeal to the niche of the niche, the hardcore Ring of Honor Northeast professional wrestling fans, much like myself, because I grew up going to Sports Plus in Long Island, watching the Ring of Honor matches and events there in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and then going to Philly, Edison, New Jersey. So Tony's thinking to the small subset of people, what is going to draw these people to come to my show? And he goes, oh, I know, we're going to do Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness, which you could set up for a pay-per-view. You could set up in any other particular way, but Tony needed to do something. So this is what we have, and it makes no damn sense. Am I going to enjoy the match? Yes. Does it make sense? No. Ugh. Now,
like I said, if this would have been a match that they would have set up shortly after. Now, I didn't think that he needed to wrestle it All Out. I honestly didn't think he needed to wrestle it. He didn't need to wrestle Jack Perry. He could have did All Out, All In, skipped All Out, and then they could have had something else completely different, and still had the show be this amazing show. You could have had Nigel come out, challenge Bryan to Grand Slam, and that probably would have set everybody on the Northeast completely off the rails. And you know that.
I know.
And again, that would have hyped up the attendance already, because people who know ROH would want to be invested in it. It makes sense to me. It makes sense to you, and it would make sense to average wrestling fans or wrestling fans who know the history of them too.
Right. But the problem is, and again, I always say video packages are so clear, but I mean, he used it. But the thing with Tony is a lot of how he's invested his stories and how, like, you and I would know about it, not everybody would know. And that's the problem. I think this time he was smart in putting a video package of them and the bloodbath that they had from 06 and 07. But it's just like, we're in a time period where Tony, how he books, he likes to rush. He doesn't like to take the time. He doesn't understand or have the capacity, the attention span of actually putting things into detail. He can't do that. He likes to rush. So,
but it doesn't. He didn't need to.
He doesn't need to
at all. He doesn't need to at all, because it would make sense for him to just kind of sit back, let it kind of glide out, and again, build. But he won't.
Alrighty, so let's get back into more of the AEW stuff. So this applies. So Conan on Keeping It 100 said that a source told him Adam Cole and Britt Baker have broken up, and I quote from the excerpt from Keeping It 100. I'm going to tell you something the source sent me. Also, I didn't even know this was thrown in here. She's no longer with Cole. They're definitely broken up. This is what the person put at the end. He's better off. She's unhinged. So thoughts on Conan Keeping It 100 and the post about Adam Cole and Britt Baker?
There are moments where I think Conan is just trying to keep himself relevant.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's just trying to throw stuff out there because he doesn't like Britt Baker. Obviously,
right.
We've already covered that before, of how many times he's took jabs at Britt Baker because he says she's toxic, she's whatever, blah blah blah. I don't care whether they're together or not. Well, I would much rather them, hey, if this is them keeping it under wraps and keeping it between them, hey, power and respect to both of you. This is their business, not ours. But you want to throw that dirt out there just because for the sake of throwing out the dirt, then Conan, that's on you.
Yeah, him and
but when they come back and they start slapping their ass around because you're talking shit, then brother, you got a whole lot of different problems going on.
Yeah, him and Dutch Mantel talking about this. I'm like, how the hell would y'all know? Like what are we doing here? But okay.
Maybe he has a source in AEW that's telling him all this. I don't know. And we'll get to Dave here in a second. But speaking of Conan, because Conan also did something that I'm going to pull up here. Yeah, Conan. So Conan says Tony Khan literally gets mad when certain wrestlers leave. So what they're doing now is they're making him overpay all these wrestlers so he can keep them. I'll let you go again first. Thoughts? It's interesting that he wants to continue to say all this shit, like as if, again, he's not necessarily wrong.
Right.
But he's also not necessarily right. I think he wants to keep the ones that he wants to keep. He's allowing whoever wants to go, hey, go ahead and go, blah, blah, blah. I think he should invest more in Ricky Starks. But if Ricky Starks goes, guess what? You just screwed yourself on a fucking star. I mean, a star. Not just somebody that you just have come in through the door, revolving it, and then throwing them in ROH or whatever, throwing them in a tag team, whatever. But, dude, Ricky Starks is a fucking star. Cody Rhodes knows he's a damn star.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan Page knows he's a damn star. Sean Spears knows he's a damn star.
Pretty much everybody. Jade Cargill knows he's a star.
Jade Cargill knows he's a damn star. Look, if Tony wants to throw around his money and flash his money and toss it at people who he thinks are valuable, Swerve, very much well deserving of everything.
Of every
if
penny.
He gets it. Every damn penny. Including Ricochet. Ricochet is another guy. If you can keep him, and you obviously kept him for 5 years or signed him for 3, 4, 5 years, kudos to you. You got a really, really great one in there. Same thing with Ospreay. Same thing with MJF. These are guys who can transition your company in for the better in the future. MJF is right now. If you give him that opportunity, we already know that man is great on this.
Mm-hmm.
and he's a talent above a lot of people that we know. And that's the best part about it. But hey, you know what? If you're gonna overpay for somebody like Chris Jericho, who's already over the hill, who's already down the hill, and is already at the bottom of the hill, and I love Jericho. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I really, really love Chris Jericho. I think his career has been phenomenal all the way up until, well, about, let me see, Jericho Appreciation Society.
That was about 2 years ago.
That's where my transition goes, because I cannot deal with everything that he's done since then.
I look at it like this. It makes me laugh because I remember when Vince McMahon was paying talent to stay because, oh, who's this new billionaire coming in with AEW in 2019? And this is when WWE's product was just an abomination, like the drizzling shits. And where we are now, like Vince would do that, but with Tony doing that now, I think he sees. And I said the biggest thing that hurt Tony Khan was Vince McMahon is out, Triple H is in. So you see a lot of people have more vested interest going towards the WWE route or anywhere but AEW because Tony's going to Tony. But I also look at it like this, man. If he has the investment that we said in those various stars that he has, like a Swerve, like an Ospreay, like a Ricochet, God bless him. Don't do it to Jericho, like we mentioned, because of just the era of suctitude that has come from Chris Jericho these last 2 years. But I mean, it is what it is. And I think if you have your investments, just treat them right. And let's let them continue to flourish. And speaking of investments, you see her on the screen here. This story made me laugh with Mercedes Monday. So here's what happened, folks. Let's break it down. WrestleOps also tweeted this. At one point, there were expectations that Megan Thee Stallion would partner with Mercedes Monday in AEW. The meeting in February early this year at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards in Japan opened up negotiations between Megan's manager, Mike B. of Rock Nation, and Monet's manager, Kevin Undergaro. After the two sides had agreed to do something together, Monet publicly mentioned the idea while promoting AEW All In London, noting that she was hoping to get Stallion in the ring in AEW. There have been conversations about the two doing something together in WWE in 2021. After Monet went public, WWE made the deal to have Megan's song Never Play for SmackDown, which, as you might imagine, caught the Monet circle by surprise. Mm-hmm. Whether this means the end of any potential Monet-Stallion alliance remains to be seen, but obviously the WWE deal didn't help. And that was WrestleOps tweeting via PW Insider of what they reported. So your thoughts on Megan Thee Stallion and Mercedes Moné?
You know that there were also WWE wrestlers who were at that same thing. Zelina Vega, Dakota Kai,
yep.
were both there and I believe Xavier Woods was there too.
Yeah, for up, down.
Also big up down was there too, because big anime fans too. So again, if they were talking about it, hey, cool. If it didn't pan out, hey, your loss. You didn't push enough. You could have. You had that opportunity. The door was open, but as soon as it closes, guess what? You're screwed.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody else is going to come in and get it.
On a side note, I have to add this. Do you see the ridiculousness with people? So there have been an uproar, because this also pertains to WWE with Megan Thee Stallion here. First of all, that song is not bad, which is now the new intro for SmackDown. People are complaining remember when we had the rock songs like the Drowning Pools on the Marilyn Mansons? I'm like, yes, but you also have to understand, we're now in 2024. It's not 2005 anymore. So this is what is trendy, and they want to be mainstream. Like, we got Sexy Red coming back for the October 8th, St. Louis edition for NXT. You had Sexy Red on there. You now have Megan Thee Stallion with your theme song for what we have here. But I'm just like, Jesus, like, people, like, we got to get with the times. It's 2024. It's not 2005 anymore. And I love Drowning Pool, but it's 2024. You got to go adapt with the times.
Yeah, we also had Papa Roach as one of them too. So again, back to, we had those rock themes, and cool, fine, dandy. That's it. It happens. There's a transition. We move from one thing to another, and I know we're gonna end up touching on this, but something also popped up, and I think I sent it to you yesterday. Def Rebel, they're not gonna re-sign him as soon as his contract is up. So
now,
this from what I've been reading and what I've been hearing, as far as like that goes, what WWE is moving away from is is moving away from somebody producing their music and actually bringing in, mainstream artists to come in and do music for them. What helps out? What helps out? Saliva. Look at Batista.
I walk alone.
Look. Cult of Personality. Look.
Yeah.
Living Color. Yeah, that's a song, but guess what? It's his. It's CM Punk. So it's not nothing new. Snoop Dogg has done stuff. 3 6 Mafia has done stuff.
Trish Stratus and Little Kim.
Little Kim.
Victoria and Nicki Minaj.
Nicki Minaj. Thank you. You already had that one on it too. But that's what I'm saying though. We've already had mainstream artists come in and do themes for a lot of wrestlers.
Edge, Metal Lincoln.
Yeah. It's again, we've had it done before. So it's not nothing new. Are we going to move away from that, what we're used to, and finally do what a lot of indies do, and they use mainstream music, use mainstream artists to, for entrances? I'm here for it.
Me too. And what we are also here for, besides the great music and art form that is professional wrestling, we go now to the final piece of AEW topics, and this pertains because of his love for the product. We're going to talk about Uncle Dave. We have two Uncle Dave ones here. Yeah.
All I want is the gif of Ryan Reynolds going.
Yeah, that'll be in this portion of
the show. That's all I want.
So
every time I tilt my head back, that just needs to flash because that's me. Every time I hear something about Dave. Okay, anyways, go ahead.
So Dave Meltzer quote tweeted this tweet. It was from Pete on Twitter. He said, "Oh my goodness, what a great sequence from a near fall right here. Awesome stuff." And CMLL. So here is the clip in question.
Atención, bienestar, y viene con ese mortal frente, y viene León, ¿qué te parece, mi Rubén?
Y aquí viene temblor.
¡Woo! I love that. Okay, first and foremost, that was a nice Lucha Libre spot. That is old school Lucha Libre. So then we get to Dave's tweet over here. It is, somebody needs to explain to these people that this stuff doesn't draw money nor appeal to the casual fan. Please don't ruin this mantra by saying there are 15,000 to 25,000 fans every week in this arena alone and more true casuals than any place in the world watching live. But some will then say it's not fair and it doesn't count. Shut the fuck up, Dave. Go ahead.
You will praise Will Ospreay when he does this.
Yes.
You will praise the shit out of Will Ospreay when
Will and Ricochet.
You will praise Darby Allin when he does this. You will praise
Kyle Fletcher
when he does this. You will praise a lot of the fucking high flyers. Oh, Pac.
Yes. Pac. There you go.
Orange Cassidy when he does it. You praise the shit out of these guys.
Top Flight, friggin' Darius and Dante Martin.
Perish the thought that it happens outside of the two major promotions in wrestling. I'm sorry. You don't get to fucking go over to talk about AAA or CMLL and everything in fucking Mexico and shit on them, Dave. You don't get to. Because they are doing shit that a lot of these guys emulate. They copy it. They do the exact same shit. So, Dave, you don't get to shit on nobody, but we get to shit on you every fucking week because of the dumb shit you say.
My thing, too, is this. I mean, we've watched Lucha Underground. We've watched everything. It's like, it's okay, like you mentioned, if Will Ospreay and all these high flyers do it because he's so big on the Super Juniors with him and Ricochet from 2016. Dave is just so stuck in that New Japan AEW bubble that there's nothing else with AAA. Like, we can watch like the Mysticos. We can watch many various talents like that from AAA, the Blue Demon Juniors, the Halloweens that we had back in the day.
Or Single H.
Single H, yes. But the problem is Dave cannot wrap his mind the fact that Arena de Mexico, but it was not full, whatever, Brian. Like, he just can't, his brain malfunctions that there's other stuff out there besides AEW and New Japan that's also putting out bangers. If it's not Will Ospreay, if it's not this, he can't take it. The thing does not compute in Dave Meltzer's head. So, Dave, we'll get to the other stupid shit that you said in a minute, but I brought this on the screen because, again, my man Paul Morales over here pulls it out, and I sent it to you. You know I got love for you, brother. Here we go. So, first of all, I want to just point out JBL at the end of Victory Road, helping out Dolph Ziggler, Nick Nemeth there with the Joe Hendry match and everything that went into it. He mollywopped poor Brian Myers with that clothesline from hell. He mollywopped Eddie Edwards. This man is a savage, and I'm here for it because I am enjoying him just coming into every friggin' territory from GCW, from TNA to what I'm going to play now with MLW. This man is awesome. I am loving JBL. So this is what happened with Brock Anderson and MLW at Fightland. Here comes JBL. The man is an outlaw. Here we go.
Oh my God. Has hell frozen over? What the hell is this? Why is he in MLW? Does Court know he's here? What? John Layfield is in an MLW ring and took a shot at Mr. Thomas. Why? What the hell are we seeing? No! A clothesline from hell from John Layfield. Why the hell is John Layfield in Major League Wrestling? What's Layfield whispering in the ear of Brock, and
I don't know what this is going to lead to, but I am all here for it.
You know what? JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield. Man, this man is going back to I don't even know where the hell to begin with. I mean, are we getting Blackjack Layfield or whatever the hell his name was back when he first started? way back when, you know,
it's called Bradshaw,
yeah, but when he was just called Bradshaw or you know, Blackjack Bradshaw or whatever the hell his damn name was before he started. I mean, this man is just coming out there, mollywopping, like you said, whooping the shit out of these guys, clotheslining them into next week. Eddie Edwards, Brian Myers, this dude, and then it's like he's showing up and he's not really saying anything. He goes over and he whispers to Nick Nemeth, and you know, he gets that nice little look at him and says, just kind of looks, nods his head, and then takes off. I love this, but I don't know where the hell the end game is. That's what I'm getting excited. Look, Tony,
that's how you do it.
That's how you do it. You don't need to do a lot.
Okay,
to make it make sense, and it will eventually make sense to us as soon as Bradshaw decides to tell us what the hell he's doing.
Exactly, and here's the difference why I like this than the friggin' takeover of fucking John Moxley, Romper Stomper Moxley, Marina Shafir, Pox, Claudio Castagnoli, and Wheeler Yuta crying. Here's the thing. The basis and general consensus of the gimmick with John Moxley, what he's doing now, is based off an Australian film with Russell Crowe from 1992 that nobody's ever fucking heard of. It's the most obscure thing ever. And he's quoting it, and he's doing almost the exact same stuff. And you bring in Marina Shafir, who sucks. And I'm going to say this. She could kick my ass, and she's a tough lady. I've seen the stuff in Bloodsport. But her run in Ring of Honor, her matches on AEW have sucked. Like, she's just nothing. Like, she can't talk, and it's just like, whatever. Pac and Claudio, now that brings like a hole into the Wheeler Yuta Trios Championship. So I'm kind of like taken out of the investment of the story. And you know what's going to lead to Moxley winning the title. But this has the general consensus of, okay, what are we doing? We got MLW. We saw him with Brock Anderson. We see him with Ziggler. We see him in GCW taking everybody out. There's something exciting about this. And plus, it's John freaking Layfield. Say what you want about Bradshaw. Can he wrestle a full match like he used to? No. But goddamn it, I'm happy watching him hit people in the face and the clothesline from hell, because that's all he needs to do. I mean, the last time we saw him, for God's sake, he was with Baron Corbin, and that friggin' thing blew chunks. You know what I'm saying? That's the last time we saw JBL.
That's why Baron ended up going down to NXT, revamping himself, and has done nothing since. He's got him back on the fucking main roster, which
with Apollo Crews,
which makes no sense, because I would have loved to have continued seeing them as a tag team, because you have somebody who is a veteran with a younger guy, and not much younger. Now I'm just saying a younger guy, and they gelled so well as the NXT tag team champions. So again, it would hype up the division if they were a tag team and they were doing something. It would bring more people into the division. Again, not showing him on TV, having Apollo do singles matches, it makes no sense, but I would love to see Baron Corbin doing more.
Here we go, man. With Baron Corbin back to Dave for the last portion of the AEW thing, and then we'll get to the WWE news and notes. Uncle Dave does it again, and you showed me this, and I laughed my ass off when you sent me this. So, yeah, here we go.
As far as next year, 2025, it would be the largest grossing pro wrestling company in history other than WWE. And it would actually be larger than WWE was until the Austin era. And it would be, and inflation is kind of like, makes that sort of a misleading statement. But as far as profitability goes, it would be the most profitable company that there has ever been in pro wrestling, except for WWE, which Tony Khan pretty much did say would be the case over the course of the deal. So, all kinds, I mean, as far as like, it's a successful business. It's a very, very successful business. As far as
what? Oh, it has been shown that there's a decline with the profitability and the attendance. And Dave, we've seen the business. We've seen where this has gone because Tony over fucking spends, but also at the same time, Dave, we've talked about the products, the WWE being the hot commodity. Tony Khan, it's cold right now. But Dave is, again, so invested in the AEW mindset, they're not going to be more profitable than WWE. You stop right now. First of all, I hope they get the TV deal, which I'm sure it's going to happen because they said we might have it next week. But good God, Dave, that was so ridiculous. And he contradicts himself, like you mentioned. And everybody's saying, even the guy even said, shut the fuck up, Dave, in the comments. It's like they lost $34 million last year. What the fuck are you talking about? Ugh.
We'll get to the TV rights things after this, but here's my take. I had sex with this girl, but I may not have had sex with this girl. But then we might have actually gone really, really far, and we might have actually made it to that point, but we might not have. But I'm telling you that we had sex, even though we may not have had sex. Does that make sense to you?
No.
That's pretty much what Dave just said. He just said that they're going to be profitable, and they may be more profitable than WWE, with the exception of the time before, after the Austin era began. But the time between Hulk Hogan leaving and the time that Austin era started, that'll be their biggest profit right there. Be right in between there. But they may or may not actually profit enough to be profitable, but they're going to be the biggest selling company because of inflation. Make that all make sense to me. Dave, I love you. Okay, no, I don't. Okay, no, I don't.
Not really.
But Dave, understand, it's either they're profitable or they're not profitable. And if they aren't profitable, then they're losing fucking money. So 2025, you're going to be eating a whole lot of crow when AEW does not get a fucking profit. Now they're getting deals, yes, but they need to make a profit out of everything that they're doing.
I mean, WCW was
Thank
profitable.
you.
You're welcome. No, WCW was profitable from 96, 97, maybe 97, 98, and then it went all downhill. At least they made a profit. You could say what you will about Eric Bischoff, but they at least made a profit. Them, AEW, not so much. I'm sorry, but
Hey Dave, you want to know who's making a profit right now that isn't AEW? The NWA.
Ooh, you went there.
You know why the NWA is making a profit, Dave? Is because they're on the CW network. They're actually on the CW app.
Yep.
Now, what does that tell you? They actually got a major company to actually take them on. And so their weekly show is on there. Yes, it's on YouTube, of course, but it's also on the CW app. So you want to know who else is on the CW? WWE,
NXT.
NXT. I say that they're doing really, really good for themselves. So back to people who are making a profit, the NWA are making a profit. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, sir. And now we get to the deal aforementioned. Per sources, AEW's new TV deal with Warner Brothers Discovery is a 4-year deal with 3-year guaranteed and a 4th optional year with a yearly payment of around $170 million. This will secure AEW programming to TNT, TBS, and True TV, TNT Sports. Additionally, the AEW Max pay-per-view streaming deal looks to be separate from the $170 million per year TV deal. AEW's deal with WBD is not exclusive. That being said, AEW is also in talks with Fox and Paramount. There is talks that AEW Shockwave will potentially be a new 1-hour show on Fox's FS1 network, which would be huge for AEW. The total dollar amount for all these deals over the next 4 years should push AEW in range of $1 billion. Again, that would be huge for AEW as they increase revenue and expand their media footprint and exposure in TV and streaming domestically. First of all, the Dr. Evil $1 million. So, okay.
$1 million. Oh, come on. We got to put that clip in there.
Oh, I'm putting it in. Absolutely. But yo, here's my thing. They don't need another fucking TV show. With the ratings that they have for all 3 of these shows, they don't need a fucking another TV show. Let's just put that out there. They don't need another fucking TV show.
Hold on. Now I'm going to go this route.
Okay.
If you eliminate one.
Yes.
If you eliminate Rampage.
That's what I would have eliminated too. Yep.
And this is just being honest. This is sincerely being honest, and I would love for them to actually get rid of it. The reason being is because it's a 1-hour show, a 1-hour show that makes no sense. Because you're producing it right after
SmackDown.
It goes on right after they tape it right after Dynamite.
Yeah. So
already already had people sitting through 2 hours almost. Now you're going to get them sitting through 3 hours of a show. We already have that problem with WWE, and they're already going to change it. We'll get to that in a second too.
Yep.
All I'm saying is that if you subtract one program, now we can go back to the NWA WCW days to where they had Saturday night, they had a Sunday morning show, and of course they had Nitro and they had Thunder. But the thing is that Thunder was only profitable for a certain amount of time, and that was pretty much in that Monday Night War that popped off, and then once they started Thunder on Thursdays, it started to profit for a while. Then it started to go downhill because of how everything was being produced on it. Now, they didn't get rid of Saturday night. Saturday night was basically a 1-hour show. Boom. Saturday nights, TBS, either right before Braves baseball or right after Braves baseball, and it worked for them. I know that they used to have a Sunday morning one too. Again, 1 hour. So, and that one was like NWA. It was inside of a studio. So it worked for them. That's all they needed. You guys are trying to do these big events in big ass places when you don't need to. Now, if they would do it at like Daly's Place, and Daly's Place was just their strict home for a small venue for these shows to be produced, it would be perfect for them. Do the other bigger shows on other places around, go out into other places. But it's Tony. We already know what the fuck he's going to do. He probably won't get rid of Rampage. But hey, if he gets these deals, he might actually have some money back in his pocket and stop wasting his dad's money.
I look at it like this, and you mentioned a very integral part there about him always doing big arenas. Look at NXT, St. Louis, Missouri. Like they moved to a smaller arena because, again, you're also doing it on a Wednesday night, and you have to think school, kids. Like it's going to be tough to fill a big arena like that. So they went to a smaller arena in St. Louis, which makes absolute sense. And I mean, like, you have to do that sometimes. And everybody's like, oh, well, they moved the arena. Yeah, because, they have a better thing with the 2,000, 3,000 intimate setting. That is basically what the NXT product is. It's a very intimate
And it's
setting.
NXT. It's
Yes.
it's not SmackDown. It's not Raw. But it works for them. They don't need a big ass place to do things in. And you know that, and I know that.
Yeah.
We just need to be in a place where people could come, they can do their show. How many do they get into the arena, into the performance center?
Man, like hundreds and hundreds of people. But it's a small crowd, but still.
We'll say maybe 500-600 people.
Yeah.
You get into a venue where it's 3,000, you know that they're going to pack it.
Oh yeah.
And if NXT decides that they want to go on the road and they want to do these smaller arenas, much like AEW started doing when they first started out, and they were doing 3,000-4,000 seat arenas, they'd sell it out.
I concur with you, but again, Tony's big picture is we got to do the big arenas, and that's where he goes wrong. But hey, man, I look at it from this, like you mentioned with WWE with the Performance Center, 500, 600 people, which is like your local indie. If they do it, people will come. You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. It's how the basis is and the general consensus of the fans, and that's how you have to have it, Tony. And what we also have to have is something that we really, really need to go into. Besides the fact that we're going to get to more appearances, more wrestling, and more promos, I have to pull this bad boy up because it has been the talk, as well as something else we'll get into as far as WWE land goes. And here we go. Raw will be on USA Network from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time starting on Monday, October 7th, and through the rest of 2024, culminating with the USA Network finale on Monday, December the 30th. Yes! Finally! As you see in that GIF, finally, we are back to 2 hours for what it used to be 9 to 11 back on Spike TV and USA. From now we're at 8 to 10 till the end of the year. We'll see how Netflix goes, but I am fine with this. Let's fucking go.
Let's fucking go. Hey, 1,500 or was it? It was Raw 1,500, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was the last time. The week prior to that was the last time it was actually 2 hours.
Yes.
Raw 1,500 went to 3 hours.
Oh yeah, Raw 1,000.
And it's been 3 hours ever since.
Yeah, was it Raw 1,000?
Oh, was it 1,000?
Yeah, Raw 1,000 in 2012, and then after that.
2012. Okay, I knew it was 2012. I just didn't know which one it was.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, my bad.
All good.
Sorry, Mr. Prognosticator, that I know all this shit.
Not really, but I remember that.
Okay.
Well, no, but dude, they used to do all those 3 hour specials, and then they officially started going to 3 hours, and we were both.
Yeah,
but
it's different. It's different when you do specials.
Yes, it is absolutely.
You want to do 3 hour specials? Hey,
Cool.
knock your fucking self out. But I think as a gesture, and I really, really think as a gesture, you have to look at it from the perspective of the people that come in from the East Coast, that are on the East Coast. You already know.
Yep.
You got to be there at a certain time. You have to be there at like 6 o'clock in the evening. That's 3 on the West for me. By the time the show starts, it's 5 p.m. 5 p.m. for us. But it starts at 4:30 or 7:30 because you have main event that actually starts.
The main event,
They do a couple of matches, boom. Then you got the main card, and then lo and behold, what do you get after the show? You get a fucking dark match. So theoretically, if you start looking at it for how many times that Vince wanted to go 3 hours because he wanted to go 3 hours, it made no sense to a lot of people. And they used to do Raw for 2 hours, and they did fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad it's finally back to 2 hours. Thank God it's back to 2 hours. And even if we record on a Monday, guess what? We could be done early. Because why? Because Raw's going to be off early.
Exactly. And I mean, I look at it like this. You know how many Raws I've slept through? I'm sure a lot of the people have, a lot of the listeners, and a lot of people who are in a wrestling fan have fallen asleep through 3 hours because it's so dragging and it's just so to get through 3 hours on a Monday night of Raw.
Now, if I've missed it, Remember, I get it. I get two different feeds.
Yes.
I get the East Coast feed, and then I get the West Coast
East
feed.
Coast feed.
So if I miss it, if I miss that 3 hours, or I hit the tail end of it, I can rewatch it. But by the time I start rewatching it, by 10 o'clock, I'm already.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm already tired. Let me go to sleep.
It was a hassle, folks. It was a chore, but thankfully we are back in business. And speaking of back in business, this makes me happy just because it makes me happy. All right, we're going to pull it up. We going back, baby. Long Island, New York, Nassau Coliseum, Saturday, December 14th. Saturday night.
Where it all began.
Woo! Where it all began. NBC, Peacock, WWE Saturday night's main event. I am here for it, man.
Man, I am so happy.
We're back.
I remember the Nassau Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
I remember a lot of events at the Nassau Coliseum, even back in the 80s, early 90s. I remember Coliseum Video. Yeah, I'm going back that far. Coliseum Video.
Going back to the retro Coliseum Video.
I'm going back to retro Coliseum Video. If you have no idea what the hell I'm talking about, WWF used to have Coliseum Video. That was their catalog. That was what they used to produce all their stuff on. You ever get an old video? That's exactly what it says. Coliseum Video on it. I remember all my videos of the best of Hot Rod, Roddy Piper, the best of Hulk Hogan, the best of Greg the Hammer Valentine. Dude, I had all kinds of videos. My mom used to just buy them for me, just to buy them for me. Even though I hated the guys, she'd still buy them for me. Just to have them. I mean, man, some of the best matches from 1987, 1988, 1989. I wish I still had those, because I'd be watching them now. But anyways, we get to go back to the Nassau Coliseum, one of the main venues that they used to produce at. They used to show events at back in the 80s. They're back, baby. Saturday night's main event. All I want to hear is Obsession by Animotion to start it off. That's all I want. Don't give me nobody else. Give me Obsession by Animotion, and I'm perfectly fine. You go on my TikTok, that was what I posted today. Same song.
I know what song you're talking about, and also I've seen the old school Saturday night's main event. I got to tell you, I was actually at one Saturday night's main event. This was in 2007. Now, this was when WWE started doing them on NBC as a special every once in a while. So this was the one where Randy Orton RKO John Cena through the chair. That was with John Cena, Carlito. This was the same one, folks, with Evander Holyfield knocking out Matt Hardy. That was the one I was at Madison Square Garden. But yeah, if you've not seen Saturday night's main event, you're in for a treat, because we're going back and we're going to do it.
You can go back to the Peacock Network or WWE Network, whichever way, wherever you live at, wherever you get, go back on there. There are a bunch of Saturday night main events on there that you can relive, revamp, all the way back from the beginning.
So I got to ask you now, are you ready to talk about the top 10 in this year's PWI 500?
Yeah, why not?
Oh boy. All right. So here's where people were going nuts. So this is, with further ado, let's take a look at the top 10 wrestlers in the world according to Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And here's the nice cover of the heartbeat of wrestling, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Hello. So here's the top 10. Ready? Mystico, Gunther, Jon Moxley, MJF, Damian Priest, Tetsuya Naito, Seth freaking Rollins, Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland, and at number 1, Cody Rhodes. Where the fuck is Roman Reigns?
I have no idea. And I get where they're going with this. And somebody actually pointed it out to me. They're basing this on storyline. Now, if you're going to end the storyline at WrestleMania, and then you're going to start bringing all this as far as your list goes, as to influence, storyline, participation, I get it. Roman Reigns wouldn't be on this list because he hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania. But significantly absent, not only Roman Reigns, Athena, who has been a champion in ROH for a little more than a year.
Over 600 plus days. Yep.
How is she not on this list? But yet, I have no problem with any of the women that are on the list, and that's far few and in between. And I get it. PW Insider does their whole completely different list with between that has a list for women, but somewhere in between here, man, you need to add some women. And a lot of these guys that that are on here, yeah, a lot of people don't know who they are. I sent you a few of the a few on the list.
I'm going to read them. So 20 is Mustafa Ali. No, excuse me. 19 is Mustafa Ali. 20 is Eddie Kingston. Then it goes to El Hijo del Vikingo, Jey Uso, Sonata, Moose, Bryan Danielson, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe. Now, those are the ones listed before the ones we just gave for the top 10. So, yeah, that's an interesting list. I mean, Sonata, El Hijo del Vikingo, really? Eddie Kingston, really? And I don't mean to put it like that, but I mean, Musa I can definitely see, and Jey Uso. I think Jey Uso should be higher just because of his character and where he's gone. He's up here for me right now. You can't go wrong with main event Jey Uso.
Bryan Danielson
he should be up higher than 14. Same with Drew and Sammy, but yeah, I don't understand the list. I don't. I mean, I understand Cody Rhodes. I understand for the babyface, the white meat babyface, everybody loves him. But the fact that Roman Reigns is not on this list is mind-boggling to me.
No, and the other thing that I had sent to you and I told you, literally the only WWE women's wrestler hasn't even debuted for them yet.
Right.
And that's Delta. And now I mind you, if you go back and you look at some of the matches that she has on YouTube, man, you will be blown away by that woman and what she does. But I looked at the list and I'm like, wow, there's not very many people like on this list. Max the Impaler, if you know who she is she's been an NWA television champion, women's television champion. She was the inaugural one, and she's held that title ever since. She is a gimmick above gimmicks, but she is badass in the ring. I beg you guys to go check her out, what she does. She is phenomenal. And it's just that I look at the list. Allie Katch is on there. Madison Bain is on there. Brent is on there. And it's like, okay. But what about these other WWE wrestlers? What about Bianca Belair? Who goes out? Jade Cargill. Yeah, but I'm looking at basically people who are workers and people who are out there doing the damn thing. I mean, I look at Bianca, she's phenomenal. Io is phenomenal. I know Bailey isn't the greatest in the ring, but god damn, she is good at storytelling in the ring.
That's my thing. You have so many different aspects to base this on in the general consensus, but like I mentioned to you, like El Hijo del Vikingo is just moves. Sonata is just. I could even tell you about Sonata with the title. I mean, he's no longer the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, but Sonata, and I don't, again, nothing against Sonata, but it's like, come on. So, I mean, the list is what it is, but there's so many different ways to view it, and it's very subjective and objective. But yeah, that was the list on the PWF 500. Now, I got to speak to you of something of that list, and this list has to go to the hotness factor that is. First and foremost, look at this woman right here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my God, Julia, say magnifique. Because that's going to bring us into our next product. I had to bring this in because Paul sent this, and I've seen photos of this woman. She is gorgeous. This woman is, she
can kick ass. Not only is she gorgeous, but she will whoop your ass.
And I love it for it. I love that about Julia. So this brings us to more Busted Open Radio. And here is our boys over at Busted Open Radio talking about Julia's debut. Everybody about to be giddy with this one. Here we go.
What did you think of the debut of Julia last night on NXT?
I will give her a good debut. I like the presence. I'm not so much a fan of the expressionless face. In the ring, I thought it was a good match for her against Chelsea. She's going to have to learn how to work the American WWE style. If you watch her transition, it's very Stardom-esque. There was a spot in the match where she ran at Chelsea in the corner to give her like this modified splash back elbow, and then she just reached behind Chelsea's neck to kind of push her forward, where Chelsea did this forward roll. Like, that's very Japanese, very Stardom, very, hey, I just need you to get in position for the next move, as opposed to grabbing Chelsea and snap-maring her into position and making it look like a fight, and you're manipulating your opponent's body and putting them where you need so you can now go up for the next move or whatever, your next move is going to be.
They did a great job last night of saying, this person's important. This is a big deal. Bully, I thought they did a great job of that last night on NXT.
You guys sit here and keep doing great job, excellent job, great job, and talking about the first-time viewer. Well, I was the first-time viewer last night. And I did not come out of that whole segment going, oh, my God, I was so blown away. So that's why I'm giving it a good B+, solid first effort, thumbs up.
It's funny, Bully, because you're saying, like, you guys are saying great and wow and how impressed you were. When that segment was over last night, literally, I said, wow, that was great. I'm impressed. I literally said,
that's awesome. There's nothing wrong with that.
What did you think of the debut of Julia?
Oh.
I love fucking Dave LaGreca, man. Dude, shout out to fucking Dave LaGreca, because, man, dude, you are fucking awesome, dude. I love listening to you guys every fucking morning, Monday through Friday. You guys brighten my fucking morning. I listen to your fucking replays all the time, because this is why I get you guys on. This is why I send this to him, to my man Michael Larkin, because you guys are fucking professionals, but you guys are fucking dorks like we are.
All right. Here's my thing to the point.
You give me your point, and I'll give you mine.
All right. Okay. So her presentation to me feels like when Asuka first came into NXT in 2014, 2015, and she was just a ripping ass, said very minimal words, just came out, gave you the stare, and she was ready to kick your ass. Much like in her debut when she knocked out Dana Brooke. She knocks out Emma. She goes through everybody in NXT. It's very Asuka feel. The presentation, from her aesthetic, from her style, it gives me Asuka vibes. And I think putting her in the ring with a veteran and someone who also is very good in her own right, in Chelsea Green, was the right move. And I mean, I know the spot that he's talking about, very Stardom-esque, very Japanese style. But I think for the time that it got and everything that it was supposed to do, it was good. I thought it was very good in my own right. So going to where we are now with her and Roxanne for Chicago, which we saw tonight with CM Punk getting between the two, which was hilarious. Roxanne talking about, I always preferred your wife. It heightens it more, and it just shows how she is going to be such a focal point of the division, and also just the star that she is. It's very Asuka vibes for me. So I will let you have your point now.
Okay. Do you know where Chelsea Green wrestled at when she was on the Indies?
She wrestled for Stardom and wrestled in Japan a lot too. Yep.
You hit the nail on the head. This is the reason why Chelsea Green was the perfect choice to be Julia's first opponent.
Yep.
This is why, and I am directing this to Bully Ray. There is a reason why Chelsea Green was the one to be her first opponent. It could have been Kyrie, but Kyrie is not in NXT. It could have been Io. Io is not in NXT. Dakota Kai's,
hurt
on the shelf and hurt. Again, if you had somebody to bring in who knows that style, it would be Chelsea Green. And it fit perfectly. She made that choice. And it had to be somebody that needed to show Julia's style, work with Julia in the style. Yes, she will adapt to what the US to what the WWE wrestling is. But same thing that you pointed on. Look at what Asuka did. Look at what Kyrie did. Dakota Kai. Look at all these European stars, all these Asian Asian American stars that came over. Shinsuke Nakamura was the exact same thing. Every Japanese wrestler, every European wrestler had to adapt to the WWE style. Was it right away? No. Did it work out? Yes. Then look at the list of amazing athletes that came over from Europe. Look at the amazing athletes that came over from Japan. They've adapted, they worked with them, and they figured it out. Julia is going to do the exact same thing, but this match with Chelsea Green was exactly as Dave LaGreca said. It was great. It was phenomenal. It was awesome. Yes, Dave, I am agreeing with you. And yes, in time, yes, Bully Ray, she will adapt to the WWE style.
Oof, I like your style. And now, speaking of style, and thank you very much.
I have spoken.
You have spoken. Somebody else spoke too. And we're going to get to the funny side of the show today. Shannon Sharp. Yes, we're going to tie in Shannon Sharp with this because R-Truth. Shannon Sharp.
Oh my God.
Shannon Sharp spoke many things. So for those who haven't seen the controversy or lack thereof, and Paul Pierce got so pissed because Shannon Sharp did get fired from ESPN. But it's like, Paul, you were literally on your Instagram live drinking, smoking pot, having women in thongs and whatnot on your thing. And Shannon Sharp, who is bad with technology, was ready to do the damn thing, threw his phone, accidentally hit Instagram live. And he at first had said that, I got hacked. No, you didn't, Shannon. It's your voice and talking about taking this dick in my Michelle. So R-Truth was in the live. And he pretty much said, Unk, grunt like an Oga. He given her the hawk. Are they fucking, excuse my French? Yo, Unk, that's not PG. Hang up the phone, big Unk. Oh, shit, she said, please. Ah, damn, this gonna go viral. They both out of breath now. I missed my pants. R-Truth. And we're gonna play something else here because R-Truth did a video. He did a video on Instagram Live mocking this. And here we go. I'm gonna play it.
Turn around. Turn around.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
The people, I'm sorry, the live feed was hilarious.
It was great. Like that whole entire live feed. Oh shit! Okay, that was the end of it. I'm sorry. Fucking hell, man! That whole shit was so fucking funny. R-Truth.
You gotta love R-Truth. And then he goes, hack to
That's what we saw there.
And he's all good to and then he goes, he was getting it.
I was literally crying just because, like, that whole thing. It's wrestling related, but it's not. But R-Truth making fun of Shannon Sharp and being on that live was hilarious. And first of all, again, Shannon Sharp, shout out to Shannon for just owning up to it and apologizing. But dude, that is going to haunt you for the rest of time, and it's hilarious. It's fucking
R-Truth will come after you too. So just know that.
Yeah.
R-Truth is a national treasure, man. That man needs to be in the Hall of Fame now.
Oh, that he does. And speaking of something that is also very fun, I believe there's also UFC on this night, so this is the reason for the change. Bad Blood is confirmed to have a start time of 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 p.m. BST. That's 1 hour earlier than the usual WWE PLE start time. So 6 p.m. here on East Coast, 3 p.m. Pacific. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, whatever.
What? I mean,
no, I'm just joking. I know it works for you because, hell, you get it earlier. You ain't got to worry about till 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night and being all the way up until, I don't know, half past midnight like you usually are.
Yeah.
Okay, see, so I'm only up until like 9 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So I'm cool. I'm on the West Coast. So anyway, so yeah, I think there is a UFC match, and I think they're kind of trying to figure out where it would go. But what is interesting enough,
Mhm.
and I think we're going to touch on this next,
Yes, we are.
and that's the fact that internally
Mhm.
we may actually get more than just the usual 5 matches for a pay-per-view, for a Triple H pay-per-view.
Yes. So we already have Nia Jax against either Naomi or Bailey for the SmackDown Women's Championship over there. We have Cody and Roman against Solo and Jacob Fatu. We have Punk and Drew in the Hell in a Cell. We have Finn and Damian. We have Liv and Rhea. And then you add Gunther and Sammy. Yep. Yes, please.
So now you can read what I said.
Oh my goodness. What I like about it too, as well, as besides the fact that we have this match, it's one of those things where you have everything that goes into what a pay-per-view is and everything that goes into what we get to see. So within this, internal listings for Bad Blood are listing Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. The already stacked card features Roman and Cody versus Solo and Jacob, Nia taking on either Naomi or Bailey, Rhea and Liv for the Women's World Championship, Finn and Damian and Punk and Drew inside Hell in a Cell, like we mentioned. And this brings us to something else that I have to bring out to you, Mr. Paul Morales, because it was reported, my goodness gracious, Mark Shapiro, according to TKO president Mark Shapiro, WWE will be looking to cut the amount of live events, house shows over the next 2 years. There were 300 shows in 2023, cut down to 250 this year, and will be cut to 200 next year. That is huge news out of the WWE landscape, because that is awesome to hear. Because again, rest, worst case scenario, no injuries. Like, they can train, they can do their thing, but scaling back down would make so much sense.
Well, let me get back to the internal listings part.
Sure.
What internal listings are is, like, in WWE, there is a listings of who are faces, who are heels, and potential matches that can happen, and potential outlooks and storylines that are being developed. That's what an internal listing is for WWE. Now, I'm going to come back after that. That's why it listed the possibility of Gunther versus Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight Championship at Bad Blood. Right. Now, let's go forward to what you said about Mark Shapiro. Now, the reason why there were so many matches, why there were so many live events, is because that was how WWE grew themselves. That was how Vince McMahon at that time wanted to get his company out there. It wanted to continue to, and it was a revenue. It was making money for them, and that was to get into smaller territories, smaller venues in smaller towns all over the world, all over the country. That was what they did then. That's what Vince McMahon wanted to do. Now they're making money, but at the same time, they're also losing money now, because you're not getting very many people coming to live events in smaller towns. But if you do them in bigger cities like LA or Boston or Atlanta or in Houston or San Antonio or San Francisco, but if you get them in bigger cities, you're gonna get more people in. You're gonna get more people in those venues than you will in, like, Jackson Hole, Mississippi, or Jackson Hole, Wyoming, or
Billings, Montana,
or Seymour, Montana, or Kamanawanalia, Hawaii. What I'm saying is like, in smaller places, they weren't making as much money. They were actually losing money, of course, between productions, trying to get your trucks around everywhere, trying to have them set up everything, and that's where their money was going into. So now that they've scaled back, you're going to do 200 shows a year on top of doing the 52 Raws every year, the 52 SmackDowns every year. You were doing a lot of shows, and you were putting a lot of wear and tear on a lot of the. Now, I don't know. I don't think so. I was going to say, I don't know if those shows are actually included, but if you think about it, they're probably not. You can beat, and the thing, and here's another thing is that they were actually doubling shows. They were actually having half of the roster on this side, half of the roster on this side over here. So you were getting these wrestlers here, these wrestlers there. What Triple H is doing is basically giving them less time, giving them more time to heal, giving them more time to have with their families instead of being out on the road. That's all he's doing.
And I will
kudos to them.
And I will read the quote before we move on. What we're doing is cutting events at WWE, so we're taking over low marginal, marginally profitable events, untelevised events that Vince McMahon had put in place to grow the brand, right? You're taking the show on the road, and we got to go to every city where we can get to grow the WWE brand. Well, the WWE brand, while we still have to grow it, it's on fire right now. So we don't need to carry these marginally profitable events. So what was 300 events last year will be roughly 250 this year, and next year will be close to 200. And the reason why I read it is because the operative word is city, and that brings us to our next topic. The Motor City Machine Guns have signed to the WWE. Yes, please. Yes, please.
Yes, please. Yes, please. This is what a lot of us have wanted. This is like I really wish they would have been there maybe a few years earlier, but I get it. It's a whole Vince McMahon thing. You don't want to be there when Vince is there. I am so glad that they're coming into this era of Triple H and Shawn Michaels. I think they're gonna debut on the first NXT
on the CW
in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna do great in NXT. I hope eventually they actually end up on the main roster. But hey, if you're gonna do what you did in TNA over in NXT, I am here for it.
As am I. And I mean, I look at it from a stance like this. The matches with Fraxium that we can have, the matches that we could have with everybody from Javon Evans, Cedric Alexander. There are so many possibilities to do with the Motor City Machine Guns. And I think, to be completely honest, if they had chosen the AEW route, what would we have gotten? Just the Young Bucks because of the Generation Me, Motor City, that feud. But what else? You have so many talents there that are younger. Alex Shelley, who we saw briefly in NXT when he wrestled with Kushida as the time splitters, what we had there. I love the fact that we're finally getting guys with their veteran status. And I look at it like this. Who's to say with the WWE TNA relationship that we won't see the Motor City Machine Guns back in TNA to do some appearances?
That's what I'm thinking too, is that works too. And I love the partnership because it's them being able to bring teams from over there. We already got to see the Rascals come over. And we got to see what they did in NXT. So the Motor City Machine Guns going back over there, with that partnership, it gives them that door, forbidden door, or whatever you want to call it.
I can't.
What the hell did Jordan Grace call it? Something a portal.
Oh, the Forbidden Portal. Yes.
Oh, yeah, Forbidden Portal, whatever the hell she called it. Oh my God, it was fucking hilarious.
I'm sorry,
but it works. It works. For them to go back and forth, it gives them the opportunity to still work with TNA.
I have to play it after we touch upon this topic here. So Giselle Shaw, who we mentioned in our last show, and with the whole thing with Trey Miguel, which again, if true, fuck you, Trey Miguel. For Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, Women's World Champion Athena will defend against Giselle Shaw at Forged in Excellence for Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. Banger alert, Paul Morales. Banger alert.
Oh, this is going to be off the chain. I am going to watch this just to watch it and watch everything. Watch the debut, man. Watch the relaunch of fucking Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, man. It's one of those. I am so happy Scott D'Amore is doing this. I am so happy that he decided to go back to Canada and revamp and restart this promotion for him. This is exactly what he wanted to do in TNA. He wasn't allowed to do it, but hey, he's doing what he's doing, and I'm so happy for him. I am so happy for Giselle Shaw to be out there doing this, and she's gonna make her rounds around the indie scene. So.
Whew. And speaking of making the rounds, we mentioned the TNA WWE partnership, and I would be remiss if I didn't play this just because we all wanted it, because she is now the liaison between WWE and TNA, Ariana Grace, and I'm going to play the clip from Victory Road because it made me smile. We wanted it, and we got it. Here it is.
be professional. I want to do this on my own.
You're all grown up. You are grown up and professional. Of course. The liaison. The NXT liaison. Liaison. I'm just very proud of you. And it's going to be fun that you're here and we get to work together. Okay, but when we're here, I take this very serious. Okay?
As do I.
No shenanigans.
No shenanigans.
No monkey business.
I would never.
I know you are. You're professional. You're great. Look at. Come on. I'm going to cry. It's a laser. A little laser.
I love it so much, dude. I love it so much. That was so funny. It popped me so hard. Oh.
And I fucking love Santino. If you don't know who Ariana Grace is, that is actually his daughter. So it's awesome that he got to have that moment with her. It was fucking beautiful. It was hilarious comedy, and I hope we get more of these because Ariana just looked as that comical timing between the two of them, even though it was genuine. I think it was really, really genuine because I know he was so happy for her. I know he's as a father, you're proud of your kids, and I just seeing that made me laugh and made me smile.
Same here. And I mean, giving her more time. Like I said, we mentioned the relationship, folks. Ariana Grace over there. We saw Carmen Petrovic. We saw Izzy Dame. Like, there's a lot of people. I mean, we just saw, look at the tapings now. We saw Jordan Grace and Karen Q there. Wendy Chu and Rosemary were on tonight on NXT against Lyra and Tatum. Like, I love the overall.
Tatum Paxley went over there and faced her. So, we're looking at this partnership, and it's just awesome. I mean, the fact that we're getting all these women to go cross promotion, from WWE over to TNA, and it's vice versa. It's the best. I love this time.
And Sol Ruca as well, which is nice to see too. Oh, good stuff, folks. Good stuff. And speaking of good stuff, congratulations are in order before we play this next clip to Lyra Valkyria, who just got engaged to, what was the gentleman's name? LJ Cleary?
Yeah, LJ Cleary. So like I said, I made it a comical. I said it was just like in a funny way, but I said LJ Cleary to WWE confirmed because, you're married to somebody, you got to get your foot in the door, she's there already. So, and he's an Irish wrestler. So kudos, congratulations. If you didn't get to see what he put on the bed, it said, "Will you marry me?" in roses. Such a damn romantic. You know what I'm saying? That's what you do. A little bit of wine, a little bit of strawberries, you know what I'm saying? Kind of be like, set the mood with the music. Little Luther Vandross, you know what I'm saying?
Put on So Amazing by Luther Vandross in the background. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I feel you. So that photo will be here if you guys want to see Lyra's reaction. It's just so wonderful. Congratulations to both. And we have two final topics here. And before we get to our final two with this promo and the other promo, I want to just say this. Holy hell, have they stacked up the NXT. We got Fraxium against Grayson Waller and Austin Theory now for the NXT Tag Team Championships. CM Punk is a special guest referee for Trick Williams and Ethan Page. But what was so big that came out of this, Javon Evans was looking for an opponent for NXT on CW, and he got it. Randy Orton versus Javon Evans, man. I am excited. I'm ecstatic for him. That's a hell of an opportunity for Javon.
Man, you are getting one of the top guys in WWE. You are getting a veteran who is going to work you, but he is going to help you so much in that ring. For one night, Javon Evans is going to reach for that stars, reach for that brass ring, and man, he is going to get the apex predator Randy Orton. That's just crazy. In this time, that's just crazy.
I like how they also hyped it as this is the first time he'll be in an NXT ring, because I'm going to say this to you. I don't count when he wrestled Damian Sandow in 2013. That doesn't count for me. Same when Chris Jericho wrestled Bray Wyatt in NXT. That doesn't count for me. So having it be official to where we are now as opposed to where we were in 2013, I could not be more happier. And go out there and show your stuff, young man, and do the bouncy things that you do. Randy Orton and Javon Evans, it's going to be awesome. But what also is awesome, again, we talk about these relationships and partnerships, and Triple H knows. So Grayson Waller cut this promo for PWA Black Label, a very popular promotion in Australia. He'll be wrestling Jimmy Townsend, much like we saw AJ against Naomichi Marufuji and Noah. We saw Io Shirai, Io Sky go back to Noah. Grayson Waller going back to his hometown of Australia, and his home country, excuse me, not hometown, but home country of Australia. Here's the promo he cut. And Paul, this promo was fantastic.
But I can't be mad at you, can I, Jimmy? This is what I taught you. Mind games. Saying whatever you got to say to get what you want, and I know what you want. You could have cashed in the key to the card on any of the PWA champions. You could have actually got in Coliseum for once. But what's more valuable than all those things combined? The Grayson Waller rough. But there's a certain level of disrespect, a line that I think you crossed when you remember who I am to you. Young boy. I was there your first training session. I remember it was yesterday, lad. Your hot mom picking you up afterwards. Very memorable. But I saw something in you. I saw your drive. I saw your passion. I saw a little bit of me in you. So I took you under my wing. I took you all around Sydney, taught you how to pay your dues, how to do this properly. I told you how to take souls and never take no for an answer. And when you wanted to better yourself and come to America and train, whose house did you stay at? Whose food did you eat? Elimination Chamber, biggest show in Australian wrestling history. Who got you backstage? Who got you to be an extra so you could see your dream right in front of you to help you attain it? And all you could do was mark out because you saw Logan Paul over there. You think I'm scared of you, Jimmy? Since I left PWA, week after week, I've gone toe-to-toe with the best, and I've never taken a step back. World champions, Hall of Famers, legends, it doesn't matter. I'm not scared of you, Jimmy. I'm scared of what I would do to you. But then I thought about it. One of the best of all time once asked me to step into the deep end with him to see if I could swim. And Jimmy, maybe it's time to find out if you can swim. Be careful what you ask for. Night one, Coliseum. My city, my house, my show. Jimmy Townsend versus Grayson Waller is on. You're welcome for the rub.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
That was a fucking fire promo by fucking Grayson Waller. I need more of that in WWE. That's what I fucking need, dude. That was fire. Fire, fire, fire. And too bad Austin Theory can't do that.
It's hard. It sucks for me, man, because you look at Austin Theory and what he's doing. He's good, but you look at Grayson Waller next to him, outshines him. And I mean, are you looking forward to when Austin Theory finally turns on him and becomes a babyface?
Yes, I am ready for it.
Oh man, it's
this was something that John Cena said that he needed to do.
Oh, he did. And the problem is with that is, again, what I love about the feud with John Cena is it was very real. Like, I mean, you incorporate the realism of it. And I mean, John Cena and Austin Theory, was the match at WrestleMania good? It was kind of meh. But at the same time, he also learns a lot just from the promos and the experience being around a guy like John Cena. So I think he can get it into next year. He has such potential and talent.
Yeah, he has got so much potential. And I really hope Austin Theory gets to that level, gets to, again, this gear, next gear, full, hitting that maximum effort, man, that kid's just gonna fly.
So he mentioned a name in that promo, and before we get to the final topic, we have to bring this up because it happened. Kevin Nash and Logan Paul, the beef that you never thought you needed. So Kevin Nash goes on his Click Talk podcast, and this is what started. So he wrote, "That motherfucker, from what I heard, he's making like $5 million for fucking Limited, and those other motherfuckers are out there making house shows. Fuck you. That's from the boys. I don't give a fuck how many people are following you. If I said you had 24 fucking million road scholars following you, motherfucker, man, I would be like, dude, are you fucking Jesus? You got a bunch of fucking idiots." And then Logan Paul would go out of his way to cut this video, and this was his response to Kevin Nash.
I got people messaging me. They're like, "Yo, Kevin Nash is talking shit about you." I said, "Damn, who is Kevin Nash? And I mean that. I'm unfamiliar with this guy, which I think is his problem. I'm not as versed in the WWE and in wrestling as maybe I should be, as my peers are. But then how am I so much better than all of them? You know, I don't have the answers to these questions. It is a question. I don't know how I could be the best in the WWE or at least one of the best. Like, I'm surely a top fiver, and I don't even do it full time. Now imagine if I did learn a little bit. Imagine if I devoted, came one of the boys, learned what the difference between a shoot and a work was. Will that make me a champion? Fuck me. Fuck you. You're one of the old guys who is bitter that I am better at your job than you ever were. And that makes you pathetic. This will be my sport, and I will continue to make guys like you eat your words when I devote a little bit of time to it. So fuck me, fuck you.
Your thoughts on the response and Kevin Nash's comments?
Well, Kevin Nash isn't wrong.
No, he's not wrong at all. He's
not wrong. He's not wrong with what he said, you know, and I get it. Logan wants to be this fucking, I know this, I know that, blah, blah, blah. Or what if I don't know the difference between a work and a shoot? Obviously you didn't, because Hulk Hogan called you out on it.
Yep.
You know, it's different. If you want to know about the things that go on in wrestling, if you want to be a really, really great wrestler rather than just being a wrestler, you're going to learn things. You're going to want to learn things. You're going to want to absorb everything. Look at your brother. Your brother goes out there. Yeah, he's training to do these things. Yes, he's training to be a great boxer, but it doesn't mean he's great. It just means he keeps fighting fucking bullshit people. If you want to be that top guy, yeah, okay, they're pushing you into this thing. Of course, you're athletic. You're good. Kudos. But you're still a worthless piece of shit. That's just my opinion.
My thoughts is this. First of all, I genuinely think he doesn't know Kevin Nash. I genuinely think he does not know who Kevin Nash is. And also, Kevin Nash, with what he's done for... You may not like Kevin Nash and his quads, but for what he's done for the business with guaranteed contracts, he made a buttload of money with the NWO. He had, again, guaranteed contracts. He made a lot of money, and you could say what you will about the contracts and whatnot, but Kevin Nash is a very notable and reputable force in the business with the money and miles that he quoted from Captain Lou Albano that he's learned. He's learned a lot. He's been up and down the road. Well, this motherfucker just comes in and does like a show or whatever he does. And again, Logan Paul's athleticism is superb, but for him as a whole, much like Paul said, he's a piece of fucking shit. He is not on the level of a Kevin Nash or any of these guys that he proclaims to be. And it's not Kevin Nash really shitting on you. It's just the fact that, you know, you're part-timer. You're not really one of the boys. You're just a guy who, again, learned it very quickly and is very skilled and gifted at it, but you're not like a Kevin Nash. You're not like what Scott Hall was, not like the guys who are veterans who've been around. And again, say what you will about Kevin Nash, but the dude knew. He was very smart from financial standpoint and where he was. Like, again, you can't beat it. I mean, you can say what you about Kevin, but he's not wrong. And Logan is Logan. This is the best way to put it.
No one ever said Kevin Nash had a 5-star fucking match with anybody.
No, not at all.
No one is stating that he's this top level 5-star match Will Ospreay type of guy.
Right.
You know, nobody's saying that. But what he is to wrestling, to the wrestlers that he's with, is that he is genuine, that he knows the business, that he worked the business, and that a lot of these guaranteed contracts that, guess what, you have are because of him. You don't have to like it, but guess what? Respect the fact that this man went out there and put his ass on the line for people like you.
And I say this, even though, again, we touch upon not having a 5-star match, and again, the respect factor is there. But I will say this, in 20 plus years, almost 20 years, 30 years even, we still talk about the NWO. We still talk about Shawn Michaels and Diesel. We still talk about the legends that were Scott Hall and then the Clique. We still talk about the Clique. So he has brought moments and memories, which I'm sure Logan Paul will do, but at the same time, Logan, respect the fucking craft, respect the people that came before you, and also, most importantly, shut the fuck up.
Exactly.
And speaking of business, like you mentioned, we talk about the business. Last topic, the former Hurt business, the Hurt Syndicate, has talked about AEW and possibly doing an invasion going to AEW. Hurt Syndicate and AEW, what do you think?
I think that it's a reach. No offense, but this is a reach. Is that you're trying to go to the competition of the place you just left. I'm not saying Tony Khan is better than Triple H. I'm not even saying Triple H is better than Tony Khan. Now, he is in a lot of aspects.
Yes.
I'm saying that if you're going to go run to the money, hey, go run to the money, go make your money, go get your money, do it. You could have went to TNA and did the exact same thing. Still had the same partnership with WWE if you wanted it. You could have went over to GCW, which you already did. You already told Josh Burnett that this is what you want to do. You want to come there. You want to work this indie scene. You want to do whatever. Hey, fine and dandy, do that. But stop shitting on fucking WWE. Don't be fucking bitter and be a bunch of bitter ass bitches complaining about the shit that didn't go your way. It didn't go your way. I'm sorry. We're sorry. Hell, they're sorry that it didn't go your way. But don't shit on them because you're just fucking bitter. This isn't a fucking divorce. You didn't get the cat and the dog and not get the house.
And I'll say this: if it wasn't for WWE, we wouldn't know who an MVP or Bobby Lashley is. Let's keep it real. Like when MVP debuted in 2006 with the Montel Vontavious Porter and the hottest free agent ever, that was big for him. He got to work with guys like Benoit, The Undertaker, Kane, Matt Hardy, and all these guys. Bobby Lashley, when he first came in, I mean, he went from feuding with Simon Dean and shoving hamburgers down his mouth and cheeseburgers to friggin' becoming like United States champion, beating JBL, ECW champion, him and Umaga at WrestleMania 23, him and Cena at the Great American Bash 07. Then he made his way to Bellator. Then he went to TNA for a little bit, one of his best runs ever, holding all the gold, being with American Top Team. And you have Shelton Benjamin as well. Shelton Benjamin, not as much as talking shit, but Shelton Benjamin for the tenure he had in WWE and him and Charlie Haas in Ring of Honor. Like, Shelton is just a wily veteran in his own right. So, I mean, when it comes to MVP needs to shush. Bobby Lashley needs to shush. And also at the same time, go to AEW and what's going to happen? You're going to be here and then you're going to sit in fucking catering because Tony Khan doesn't know how to capitalize after this. My personal opinion, they would have been great in TNA, much like when we had the Beatdown Clan in 2014 with Bobby Lashley, MVP, Low-Key, Samoa Joe, Kenny King, and all those guys. That was palatable. That was one of the best parts of the Destination America run. So, I mean, hey, if they want to go to AEW, fine, but let's see where that transpires. And
I think that's somebody that they could bring in too. Kenny King. Kenny King could be another person that they could bring into the Hurt Syndicate since Cedric Alexander is still in fucking WWE. So that could be somebody that they could bring in too. I mean, and they have worked together before. So again, you want to work the Hurt Syndicate? Hey, cool, fine, dandy. Have fun.
Well, let's be honest.
Make it work for you and make that money work for you. That's all I'm saying is just try not to be a bunch of bitter bitches with everything that's going on. That's all I'm trying to say.
Don't be like Donnell Jones and his song "Don't Trip." I sense bitch assness up in here. No, we don't want
exactly.
And I will say this: can you blame Cedric as well? If I'm Cedric Alexander and I re-sign with WWE and they put me on NXT, and when I'm not really hardly doing anything, and you put me in a tag team now with Javon Evans on NXT, I'm taking the fucking money. I'm on TV. I'm shutting up.
And you're on TV every day. That's all that matters. That's all a lot of wrestlers want, is that if you're on there and you're on TV, that's all you want for yourself.
It's like when they were complaining about Chad Gable in the Wyatt Six and how he was always losing. I'm like, Chad's on TV and he's in one of the prominent storylines on fucking Monday Night Raw. Shut your punk ass mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of what you shouldn't shut, you should not shut this show off because you should always be watching this show, the weekly review. Don't shush your mouth. Don't shoosh. But what you should do is check out the weekly review. We'll be back very, very soon for another edition of the show. Thankfully, we don't have predictions for another 2 weeks, by the way, because Bad Blood's in 2 weeks. So we don't have predictions for another 2 weeks. So that's a plus.
But we'll get there. We will get there.
Oh, but we'll get there. So Palmer,
we pretty much already know what the matches are. So if we end up going there, we'll end up putting it on here. So you will see us.
You will see these grills. And Paul Morales, where can we follow you on social media? The floor is yours.
The name is right there. The Dead Man of RWT. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on X. You can find me on TikTok. You can't find me on Pornhub because I ain't there. Not like him. But anyways, those are the social medias. Of course, you could always find me here with this man. Oh, wait, with this man. Sorry, I'm pointing the wrong way. With this man right there, right there, right there. That man right there. You can find me with him here and the RWT Facebook page. Of course, you can follow the link below. And of course, Michael Larkin, the floor is yours, sir.
Oh my goodness. Well, first and foremost, folks, thank you, because we are almost to 1K. We're about 991 on the YouTube front, on my YouTube channel there. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. I truly appreciate it. So if you want to subscribe to the YouTube, it's Mike Larkin 92. We have this show. We have the Stephen Mike Show. We have the Stevie Nicks Experience. We have the Golden Age of Everything. We have the Pop Culture History Podcast, LFC, Uncaged, Deep into the Heart Wrestling, and so much more. Paul will actually be joining Daniel and I for our next episode of Uncaged in season 4, as we're coming towards the end, talking about Ayo Chico Reza Ramon, which is
Hey yo,
say hello to the bad guy. So that's going to be a fun edition of the show. And check out StephenMikeShow.com, LFCfights.com, SM Show 1, MCL92 on Twitter, Larkin_92. I'm Larkin MB on Instagram. Links will be in the description. For Paul Morales, my name is Mike Larkin. Thank you so much for listening to the weekly review. And shut your punk ass mouth, Logan Paul and MVP and everybody that has a lot of bitch asses. Just shut your punk ass mouth.
Yeah. Shut up.
Shut the fuck up. And we're out.